Just call him. Because we can't.
Yes, start with it.
A book?
I found it, but it's not enough. I told him it's not enough.
Why not next time you drive the way you can cut here? We get problem with you. Respect her. And respect her still. Oh, you came back. Slowly, you go faster. Yes, I need to direct you where you are going.
You should be the don't you be in front, huh? I'll lead the tip.
Yes, good afternoon to you.
How are you?
Uganda IGG versus Serimba Joffrey.
From Rogers Kinobe, Supervisor Prosecutions for the state. One of the matter is for plea taking. However, I would like to bring to the attention of court that A1 is still at large. We have from A2 to A7. However, we pray that the charges be read to the ones present and we proceed.
Whoever had his phone contact would have called him to jump on the border to come. It is always prudent to come as a team. Yes. That's why you are laughing, but that's the reality. You know, when you come alone, you have specific eyes looking at you. But when you come as a group, you gain strength and courage. Don't you see the team is okay? Yes. You'd have called him to jump on a border on a way, but this is a very big person. But they can give way. And he would have come and it becomes meaningful. Masigazi Deogracias. Who is he? Abaho Joshua, Asasira Babura, Ime Tony, Amodoi Peter, Ofung. So if I may ask Mr. Masigazi Deogracias, and you confirm whether you know anything about these very many charges. But before I proceed to read the charges against you, I want to ask you to confirm whether what is stated on this charge sheet is a correct description of who you are. You know, sometimes the prosecution can allege, and it so alleges that Masigazi Deogracias, male adult Ugandan, you are the Undersecretary and Head of Department of Pacification and Development Program, Office of the Prime Minister. Would that be true? Okay. Mr. Baho, it is alleged that you are a male adult Ugandan, and you were senior assistant secretary in the office of the Prime Minister. Then Asasra, Barbara, it is alleged that you are a female adult Ugandan and you are a principal assistant secretary, office of the Prime Minister, right? Imetone Ameni, it is alleged you are a male adult Ugandan, assistant commissioner, programs, office of the Prime Minister. Then Amodoi Peter, it is alleged you are a male adult Ugandan, program officer, office of the Prime Minister. Then finally, Ofungi Samuel, it is alleged you are a male adult Ugandan, senior assistant secretary, office of the Prime Minister. Okay. So before me, I have a charge sheet that contains a total of 12 counts. However, these 12 counts are distributed amongst you. And I will read count and the people responsible. And I therefore will ask you to plead to the corresponding charges under the different counts. Under count 1, the charge is causing financial loss, contrary to section 20 of the Anti-Corruption Court Act, Anti-Corruption Act of 2009 as amended. The accused persons under account 1 are Mr. Seremba Joseph, who is not here. See? Going to make us do double work. Mr. Seremba Joseph and Masigazi Deogracius. The particulars are that Seremba Godfrey and Masigazi Deogracius between February and June 2022, while performing your duties as accounting officer and head of department, pacification and development program respectively, in the office of the Prime Minister, you approved a total of cash payment of Uganda shillings 4,497,132,000 to various staff within office of Prime Minister without any proper work plan, nor genuine activity to be carried out, knowing or having reason to believe that your acts would cause financial loss, and indeed caused financial loss of 347,491,000 to your employer. So in absence of A1, Mr. Masigazi Deogracius as A2, have you heard? Have you understood? You'll speak a little bit louder. These people who have come here, including but not limited those who are outside, they want to hear from you, including those online.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Have you heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you have to say as an answer to these allegations?
Not true, ma'am.
So a plea of not guilty is entered against A2, Mr. Masigazi Deogracius, in respect of count number 1, which is the charge of causing financial loss allegedly jointly committed with one Seremba Geoffrey, who is not. Count number 2 is abuse of office, contrary to section 11, subsection 1 and 2 of the Anti-Corruption Act as amended. The particulars are that you, Masigazi Deogracius, together with Seremba Geoffrey, between February and June 2022, while performing your duties as accounting officer and head of department, whereby Seremba was accounting officer and Masigazi was a departmental head, pacification and Development Program, respectively, in the Office of the Prime Minister, you arbitrarily approved a total cash payment of 4,497,132,000 to various staff within OPM without following guidelines, acts which were prejudicial to the interest of your employer. Similarly, Masigazi, what have you had? Have you understood?
Yes, my lord.
What do you have to say as an answer to these allegations?
That's true, my lord.
Count number 3 is embezzlement, contrary to section 19A, D, and paragraph 3 of the Anti-Corruption Act of 2009 as amended. The person who stand charged on this is Abaho Joshua. And the particulars of the offense are that you, Abaho Joshua, between February and June 2022, while employed as a Senior Assistant Secretary, Office of the Prime Minister, you stole Uganda shillings 2,473,154,000 advanced to you for coordinating various peace-building initiatives in Karamoja region to which you had access by virtue of your office. Mr. Abaho, have you heard? Have you understood?
Yes, I've understood.
What do you have to say as an answer to this allegation?
It's not true.
Count number 4 is still against the same person. Mr. Abaho Joshua, you stand charged with the offense of abuse of office contrary to section 11, subsection 1 and 2 of the Anti-Corruption Act of 2009 as amended. The particulars of under count 4 are that you, Abaho Joshua, between February and June 2022, while employed as Senior Assistant Secretary, Office of the Prime Minister, you received a total cash payment of 2,493,154,000 to coordinate various peace-building initiatives in the Karamoja region, which activity you never conducted and thus failed to account for 2,473,154,000, and arbitrarily act prejudicial to the interests of your employer. I don't know whether it is statutes also go through the particulars, maybe there could be. I don't know. Because one is 2,493,000,000, then another, there is a variation of around 20. Okay. So, I repeat, you are charged under count 4 with abuse of office contrary to section 11, subsection 1 and 2 of the Anti-Corruption Act. The particulars are that you, Abaho Joshua, between February and June 2022, while employed as Senior Assistant Secretary, Office of the Prime Minister, you received a total cash payment of Uganda shillings 2,493,154,000 to coordinate various peace-building initiatives in Karamoja region, which activity you never conducted. Thus, you failed to account for Uganda shillings 2,497,154,000 an arbitrary act prejudicial to the interests of your employer. Have you heard? So a plea of not guilty is entered against you, Mr. Abaho, in respect of count number 4. Count number 5 is a charge against Asasira Barbara. Barbara, you stand charged with the offense of embezzlement, contrary to section 19 A, D, paragraph 3 of the Anti-Corruption Act of 2009. And the particulars are that you, Asasira Barbara, between April and June 2022, while employed as Principal Assistant Secretary, Office of the Prime Minister, you stole Uganda shillings 522,926,000 advanced to you for coordinating various peace-building initiatives in Karamoja region, to which you accessed by virtue of your office. Have you heard? Have you heard? Have you understood? What is your answer to these allegations? So a plea of not guilty is entered against you, Asasira Barbara, in relation to count number 5. Count number 6 is against Asasira Barbara still, and this is abuse of office contrary to section 11(1) and 2 of the Anti-Corruption Act of 2009. The particulars are that you, Asasira Barbara, between April and June 2022, i.e. in 3 months, while employed as Principal Assistant Secretary, Office of Prime Minister, you received total cash payment of Uganda shillings 538,526,000 to coordinate various peace-building activities in Karamoja region, which activity you never conducted, and thus failed to account for Uganda shillings 522,926,000, an arbitrary act prejudicial to the interests of your employer. Have you had charges under count 6? Have you understood?
Yes, my lord.
What do you have to say as an answer to these allegations?
The allegations.
Plea of not guilty is entered against you, Asasira Barbara, in relation to count number 6. Count 7. Count 7 is against Emitone Amen. Mr. Tone, it is alleged that you committed the offense of embezzlement contrary to section 19A, D, paragraph 3 of the Anti-Corruption Act of 2009. The particulars are that you, Tony, in the month of June 2022, while employed as Assistant Commissioner, Programs, Office of the Prime Minister, you stole Uganda shillings 225,550,000 advanced to you for coordinating various peace-building initiatives in Karamoja region, to which you accessed by virtue of your office. Have you heard? Have you understood?
I've understood.
What do you have to say as an answer to these allegations?
Not true.
So a plea of not guilty is entered against you, Mr. Tony, in respect of count number 7. Count number 8, still against you. It is alleged that you committed the offense of abuse of office contrary to section 11, subsection 1 and 2 of the Anti-Corruption Act of 2009 as amended. And the particulars are that you, Tony, in June 2022, While employed as Assistant Commissioner, Programs, Office of the Prime Minister, you received a total cash payment of 225,550,000 to coordinate various peace building initiatives in Karamoja region, which activities you never conducted and thus failed to account for the said Uganda shillings 225,550,000, an arbitrary act prejudicial to the interests of your employer. Have you heard? Have you understood?
Very clear.
I have understood very clearly. Not guilty is entered in respect of count number 8 against Tony Amen. We go to count number 9. And count number 9 is against Amodoi Peter. Mr. Amodoi Peter, it is alleged you committed the offense of embezzlement contrary to section 19A, D, paragraph 3 of the Anti-Corruption Act of 2009 as amended. The particulars of the offense are that you, Amodoi Peter, between March and June 2022, while employed as Program Officer, Office of the Prime Minister, you stole Uganda shillings 100,388,000 advanced to you for coordinating various peace building initiatives in Karamoja region, to which you accessed by virtue of your office. Have you heard?
Yes, my lord.
Have you understood?
Yes, my lord.
What do you have to say as an answer to these allegations?
It's not true.
So a plea of not guilty is entered against you in respect of count number 9. Count number 10. Count number 10 is against Amodoi Peter again. Amodoi Peter, it is alleged you committed the offense of abuse of office, contrary to section 11, subsection 1 and 2 of the Anti-Corruption Act of 2009 as amended. The particulars of the offense under count 10 are that you, Amodoi Peter, between February and June 2022, while employed as economist, Office of the Prime Minister, you received a total cash payment of Uganda shillings 308,275,000 to coordinate various peace building initiatives in Karamoja region, which activity you never conducted, thus failed to account for Uganda shillings 217,507,158 shillings, an arbitrary act prejudicial to the interests of your employer. Have you heard?
Yes, my lord.
So a plea of not guilty is entered against you, Mr. Amodoi Peter, in respect of count number 10. Count 11. Count 11 is against Samuel Ofungi. Mr. Samuel Ofungi, it is alleged by the prosecution or by IGG that you committed the offense of embezzlement contrary to section 19A and D, paragraph 3 of the Anti-Corruption Act of 2009 as amended. The particulars of count 11 are that you, Ofungi Samuel, between March and June 2022, while employed as Senior Assistant Secretary, Office of the Prime Minister, you stole Uganda shillings 25,473,000 advanced to you for coordinating various peace building initiatives in Karamoja region, to which you accessed by virtue of your office. Have you heard? What is your answer to all these allegations that you stole Uganda shillings 225,473,000? So a plea of not guilty is entered against Samuel Ofungi in respect of count number 11. Let's go to count 12. Under count 12, it is still you, Mr. Ofungi, whereby you are accused of abusing your office, abuse of office, contrary to section 11, subsection 1 and subsection 2 of the Anti-Corruption Act of Uganda 2009 as amended, and the particulars of the offense are that you, Ofungi Samuel, between March and June 2022, while employed as Senior Assistant Secretary of the Office of the Prime Minister, you received the total cash payment of Uganda shillings 69,298,000 to coordinate various peace building initiatives in Karamoja region, which activity you never conducted, and thus you failed to account for Uganda shillings 25,473,000, an arbitrary act prejudicial to the interests of your employer. Have you heard, Mr. Fungi? Have you heard?
Yes, my lord.
Have you understood?
Yes, my lord.
What do you have to say in answer to this allegation? So, a plea of not guilty is entered against you in respect of count number 12.
Please, they don't take inside the cells. Every time I tell you, they hear.